Sparring doesn't work. Today I'm in the backyard. Pardon me if you have a lot of noise that you're hearing in the background. I apologize for that. But I wanted to make this video because it was on my mind, and I hope you enjoy it. Sparring doesn't work. Most of you are losing your mind right now by me saying this, but let me explain. For most students, sparring doesn't matter. Why? Well, because most students are beginners. Beginners don't need to free spar because they don't have the skill yet to actually spar well enough to learn from it. Even seasoned fighters and experienced martial artists don't need to spar a whole bunch. Let me show you a video from Dewey Ramsey. He's a MMA fighter and has trained various different martial arts. Also, his YouTube channel is really good. It's both informational and entertaining. You should definitely check him out. So here's a short clip of one of his videos discussing sparring. I'll link the full video in the description below, but take a look.
You don't need a lot of hard sparring. There are also downsides to doing a lot of light sparring. If most of your training is free sparring meaning, are you ready? Are you ready? Let's spar, let's go. And then whatever you want, you aren't going to learn a great deal. You're going to fall back onto your hobbies, onto what you're already good at, onto what you already know, and you are never really going to step outside that box, and you're not going to expand yourself as a martial artist, as a fighter, beyond that point, which is where positional sparring comes in. Positional sparring is super important. So you want to learn a new technique, you want to learn to deal with a situation you're currently uncomfortable with, you've got to put yourself in those positions and spar from there with specific objectives. That's pretty simple. That kind of sparring you should do often. That should be most of your sparring. Free sparring should be an exercise to determine where your strengths and weaknesses are, to determine where most of your positional sparring should be taking place.
So as he says, free sparring shouldn't happen a whole bunch. He says actually you should be doing more positional sparring, or just drills. He goes on to say that most of your training should be done this way, mostly drilling. And I completely agree with him. The other problem with free sparring typically is the level of control required to make it work well. Many students aren't skilled enough yet to fully spar with good control. So he goes on to say that free sparring should be done to find out what other things you should train more of. And I agree with this. But I want to take it one step further. He trains mostly in a ring. I'm not sure, but I'd assume he also trains mostly for unarmed situations. Ramsey Dewey, if this is off base, please let me know. Anyway, if you are training for self-defense and not a fight in a ring with rules, you should add weapons to your training. For example, if you're free sparring, then put a knife in the other guy's hand and see what happens. You'll probably quickly realize that some of your training is not suited for the situation that you're currently training for. So statistically speaking, self-defense encounters will either have a weapon, multiple attackers, or sometimes even both. So you'll need to eventually add that into your training. Similar, if you're a ground fighter and you don't do any stand-up fighting, well, then you need to add punching and kicking to your training. If you're a striker and you don't do any ground fighting, well, you need to train ground fighting. Self-defense is not something that you can dictate. You can't dictate where the fight goes. So you need to be able to do all of it. And you have to be able to be well-rounded enough to be able to do punching and striking. You got to be able to do ground fighting. You got to make sure that you understand what to do if there's multiple people, different types of terrains, if there's weapons included. All of this stuff becomes very, very important, and you don't know what to expect until the fight happens to you. So you should be training all of it. If you only do one part because that's what you like, then you're not training for self-defense. You're actually just training because you enjoy that particular martial art. To conclude, most people who get into martial arts think they need to be sparring from the beginning, and they should probably spar all the time. That's just completely false. I completely disagree with that. Please just trust the process of your instructor, learn the concepts, the techniques, train them, and then finally test them out in a sparring situation. I hope you enjoyed this video. Tell me what you think in the comments below. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.